How do you do? It's time for the Rainbow Review. I'm Trevor Allen.
And I'm Ramin Hafezi.
Let's get started, shall we? Facebook has identified $100,000 worth of ads funded by Russia that ran on the site for 2 years. These ads took polarizing positions on social issues such as gay rights, immigration, and race. Facebook has identified 470 inauthentic accounts and suspended these accounts as well. Facebook is claiming that these ads could not have or are unlikely to have affected any swing state results during the 2016 election, and that these ads did not include any direct links to any particular candidate. Facebook says that they are currently cooperating fully with federal inquiries at this time.
So we got some news coming out of Kuwait today. Let's see. Earlier this month, the Kuwaiti government has deported 76 individuals on the grounds of suspicions of being gay. In addition, they've also shut down 22 massage parlors for suspected gay conduct. Interesting. The raids were led by one Mohammed al-Dufairi, who has shut down these 22 massage parlors on the grounds of they were acting as undercover incognito sex dungeons, apparently, or just promoting homosexuality in general. He went on to state to a local newspaper that Kuwait has a zero-tolerance policy against any morally disreputable deeds, and they will have a zero-tolerance policy and will show no leniency towards anyone who threatens the health or safety of the Kuwaiti citizenry or their community. Not only is it illegal to be gay in Kuwait, it is also illegal to be transgender, or legally under the law in Kuwait, it's cross-dressing, that's illegal. If you're under the age of 21, you can face upwards up to 10 years in prison for being gay or being even suspected of being gay. However, if you are over the age of 21, you're going to get a 6-year prison sentence regardless. This isn't the first time al-Dufairi has openly espoused anti-homosexual views to the newspaper, as in 2013, he wanted to at a health conference, he said he wanted to invent some sort of homosexual detection device so that they could monitor any gays coming into the country of Kuwait or any of the Gulf states. A university professor from Kuwait University also said that the actions for the deportation were justified, that gay people are definitely dangerous, and that as a conservative country, Kuwait should not allow gay people into their nation. Trevor, back to you.
All right, over here in the States, the NFL has a record of not really having any open players currently active in the NFL. Most of all NFL players who come out as gay have come out after retirement or leaving the NFL in some manner. Aaron Rodgers spoke about this recently, saying that a lot of people who are gay in the NFL are afraid to come out because they are afraid of losing their job. He says this is rightfully so, that they would likely lose their job, but he also points out to a friend of his, a recent retiree from the NFL named Ryan O'Connell, who has come out recently after retirement. Earlier this year he's come out, and he spoke about how he went through clinical psychology and had to speak to someone. If he hadn't, he would be dead, is what he says. And that Rodgers says that this is looks like a positive direction the NFL is moving because of his friend able to speak about what he went through, as well as getting the clinical psychological help that he needed after being in the NFL. This can also be seen through college players. College players, there's a record-breaking number of open gay college players in football at this time.
While the NFL itself may have some problems with the gay community, or vice versa, the same may not be true for college football, as there are up to, as of last week, 6 openly gay players in college, in the college league. The last person to come out was Javier Colin Javier Colvin of Butcher University, linebacker. The 6 players are Scott France of Kansas State University. He's going to be a sophomore. Mai King Johnson from Arizona State. He's a redshirt and a freshman this year. Redshirt means that
They're going to die in Star Trek.
well, yes, they will no doubt be eaten by some alien on the Enterprise. He means that his position is not yet solid, so he may not be playing this year, but as a freshman, they can reserve him for up to the next 4 years. Javier Collin himself from Butcher University, linebacker, who's in his sophomore year for the upcoming fall season. Kyle Kurdzolier from St. Francis, University of St. Francis, linebacker in his junior year. Darren McAllister from Marian University, who plays center and is now a senior. And finally, Wyatt Pertzer from the Capital University of Ohio, who plays wide. When asked in an interview, Johnson said that he didn't feel like a pioneer, even though he was asked if that. He said he just felt like a kid who plays football, and he has no problem with being out. It's just that everyone else just has to get used to it now. Back to you, Trevor.
Recently, in an interview, the Pope confirmed his continuing stance on marriage equality. After being asked about the subject, he said that marriage is between a man and a woman, but referred to gay marriage as a civil union. This is not uncommon for the Pope. The Pope has had a long-standing, even before he was the Pope in Argentina, opposing marriage equality. He's also spoken about protests that occurred in Mexico that were anti-marriage equality, and saying that they spoke for marriage, family values. The Pope has said that he believes the foundation of marriage is procreation. And so that means that anyone who is in a man and a woman who can't procreate, it's not marriage, traditionally or religiously. The Pope has also spoken about transgender people and has decried what he believes that children are being told that they can choose their sex as they grow older, and that this is a mistake because it teaches them something that isn't fact. Back to you, Ramin.
So last Sunday, September 3rd, was Father's Day in Australia. And our next story comes out of Melbourne. There was a Father's Day service, Sunday service, in a Greek Orthodox church in Melbourne, Australia, which, in addition to being a regular Sunday service, also commemorated the passing of a member of their community, a woman who had struggled with her sexual identity and had taken her own life. This was upsetting enough, but then witnesses from the congregation, one Liz, and I apologize for butchering the Greek name, Tassiopoulos, said that afterwards, or during the ceremony, the priest said that gay people, not only is homosexuality a sin, that gay people should be lined up and shot. This comes on the heels of the upcoming vote for Australians to decide the fate of marriage equality, and the priest then said that the congregation should vote no on this, and that homosexuality is a terrible blasphemy. In some good news, members of the congregation didn't just take this lying down, literally. Some of them just started standing up and told the priest straight up to his face, "I am voting yes for this upcoming mail-in ballot." To which the priest then replied, "Shame on you." This was deeply upsetting for many of the congregation, including the witness, Liz, who said that it was so upsetting that she couldn't stop crying, and only stopped long enough to console a young boy who had just recently come out as gay, who also could not stop crying because of the hatred he was feeling. She then said that God loves him, that we love him, and that our community is based on love. And she's also remarked that it was quite a shame that this was happening. There was so much hate happening on this Father's Day, especially just 40 days after the woman who had passed. Her father was also attending the services that day. So LGBT activists were afraid this sort of thing was going to happen, and that anti-gay rhetoric was going to be stirred up by members of the religious community due to the upcoming mail-in ballots, and they had urged the government to just make a decision already and not rely on an unnecessary vote from the people, because this would have been because then extreme right-wingers could then stir up trouble in Melbourne as well as all over Australia, as is the case. In fact, white supremacist groups have started having anti-gay rallies in Melbourne. So, what else is new?
Well, in 2012, actually, a cake shop owner in Colorado refused to bake a cake for a couple that wished to get married, and a gay couple. The couple went to the Colorado Civil Rights Commission and complained, and they also agreed that the cake shop owner violated the public accommodations law, and the couple was able to win a lawsuit in the Colorado court system. Initially, the Supreme Court was not going to hear this case, but until after Neil Gorsuch was confirmed. After this, the Justice Department has recently argued that racial discrimination would be worth punishing, but not anti-gay discrimination, stating that weddings are a sacred rite in the religious realm, and baking a cake would be enabling that ritual. The ACLU responded saying they were shocked by this brief, and that the administration was advocating the constitutional right to discriminate. This comes only 2 months after the Justice Department also said that it was okay to fire people based on their sexual orientation, or hire them.
Our next story comes to us out of Germany, where a new study has been published. The German Institute for Economic Research has published a new study stating that German gay and bi men on average earn less than 2.64 euros when compared to their working straight counterparts. Interestingly enough, it also shows that bi and lesbian women make 2 euros more than their straight counterparts. The study was published by one Dr. Martin Crow and states that discrimination may be a factor in why on average, gay men in Germany and bi men earn less than their straight counterparts. However, they stated this is only an initial survey. There certainly are more to come. There could be a number of factors, but he did state that the likelihood of them earning less is not due to their differences in education or qualifications. So it could be, while it could be discrimination, it could also be a number of other factors, such as chronic stress, or the stress, minority stress, which is the perception or the fear that they may be discriminated against in their positions, and therefore might make less because of that. Also, it could be a fact that on average, gay men in Germany work more overtime than their straight counterparts. And in Germany, if you work more hours, then you do get more overtime, but as a trade-off, you may earn less hourly wages. So, interesting things to consider coming out of Germany.
Canada has been quietly granting asylum to LGBT Chechens. These gay and bisexual men have been brought over to Canada in an under-the-radar collaboration between the Canadian government and human rights groups. The news about this purge in Chechen of gay men came to international news in April, and in an interview, the Chechen government denied this purge, as well as denying the existence of gay men in Chechnya in general. This program has been kept secret for the safety of these LGBT members. The Canadian government's part in this program has only been confirmed through unnamed sources at this time. About 70 gay and bisexual people have escaped Chechnya at this time. The Russian LGBT network says that they are working with 5 European countries to help these refugees escape Chechnya and this purge, naming only at this time Lithuania as one of those countries. Canada is offering counseling and settlement services to those from Chechnya as a way to adapt to their new lives outside of the country. Russian officials said that earlier, before this news came out, Russian officials have stated that there would be consequences for Canada if they housed any refugees from Chechnya.
Tragically, another member of the LGBT community is no longer with us. This story comes to us from out of the UK, where a 15-year-old transgender boy by the name of Leo Etherington, born Louise, took their own lives earlier in May. Leo, or sometimes Alex, as he liked to be called, attended an all-girls school, the High Wycombe in Buckinghamshire. Leo had tragically lost his mother at age 11 in 2013 when he first came out as gay, and then in 2016 came out as transgender. From all reports of the accounts that Leo's father was a very loving and supporting man who had always shown nothing but the utmost respect and adoration and just genteel parenthood and human decency towards his child. Leo did face a difficult time in the all-girls school, as officially he wanted to have his name changed from Louise to Leo and have that be acknowledged by the school. And the school said that Leo was under the age of 16 and therefore could not legally have his name changed, as well as suffering from depression for most of his life. He is survived by his father Martin, who claimed that one night in May he called Leo down from his room to go and attend dinner, and was getting very worried when he didn't come down, and that's when he discovered Leo's body. The coroner reports that while this was indeed a suicide, from all reports, Leo's father was just a very amiable, amicable man who tragically lost his kid. But in all reports, he was a kind, decent, excellent, supportive father figure.
In much happier news, Laverne Cox, the actress who has been starring on Orange is the New Black, will be getting her own lead drama series, or at least a pilot order, on ABC. This show will be executively produced by Elizabeth Banks. The title of the show is called Spirited. It is about a fake psychic who, at some point, starts to actually be able to hear the dead talk and becomes a real psychic. And instead of conning people, as she did before, decides to start helping people. It's a pretty basic concept for your normal, average, major TV network. It's procedural. But this would also be one of, I believe, the first scripted drama that stars as the singular leading role a transgender person. This comes after Laverne Cox, as I mentioned before, starring on Orange is the New Black. She has also starred on several other shows, not as the single main lead as this show is. She has starred in Transform Me, which was a VH1 show, a reality show, where she and two other transgender women went around and helped transform transgender people into a beauty that they would like to look. And I think this is just great news. It's a first, possibly, and it looks like a positive direction, and it's positive representation. So I think that's very good. And now to Susan Frawley with the editorial.
These past few months since the election have been difficult for many people. Immigrants and the LGBTQ community seem to be bearing the brunt of most of it. When Trump was campaigning for president, people said, "Hey, he's pro-LGBTQ. He's on our side. Look, he even held up a LGBTQ rainbow flag." Well, you might want to notice that the flag he held up, it was upside down. You know, when Hitler was campaigning, because he did campaign, when Hitler was trying to take power in Germany, he said to the homosexuals there in Germany that he was going to grant equality to them when he took power. When that happened, actually quite the opposite is what took place. It started slow, as these things usually do, but Trump's attacks on the LGBTQ community, which started the minute he took office, by the way, are gaining momentum. Let's mention some, but not all, of the attacks so far. The first was the erasure of any mention of LGBTQ on the White House, Department of State, and Department of Labor websites. This happened on Inauguration Day. In February, Trump rescinded Title IX protections for transgender students in our nation's schools, in effect saying that they had no protection to use the restrooms that matched their gender identity. In March, he removed LGBTQ from the National Survey of Older Americans Act participants, appointed an anti-LGBTQ activist as head of the Health and Human Services Civil Rights Office, removed the LGBTQ category from the next census, signed an executive order that allows federal contractors to discriminate against LGBTQ employees, and cut funding for HIV and AIDS research. In April and May, he appointed another anti-LGBTQ politician to a senior role at the Department of Agriculture, a direct threat to gay employees in that department. He also signed a religious liberty executive order that allows discrimination based on your religious preferences. In June, Pride Month, he did not issue a proclamation designating June Pride Month. The Department of Education invited Focus on the Family and the Family Research Council, two anti-LGBTQ organizations, to be speakers for a day-long conference on children's welfare. The Department of Commerce removed sexual orientation and gender identity from the agent's equal employment policy. It was put back after a lot of protest. He also appointed 2 more anti-LGBTQ activists to government positions. The most controversial thing that he's done so far has been his move to ban transgender people from the military. It's only been 9 months, and the LGBTQ community is reeling from these attacks against us. At this point, we are no longer sure what attacks are going to come or when they're going to come, but be assured there will be many more. Donald Trump has surrounded himself with anti-LGBTQ extremists, and that is a sure sign of where his sentiments lie. In fact, Michael Pence is his vice president. Michael Pence is assuredly the most anti-LGBTQ politician we have in the nation right now. He's for conversion therapy, and he thinks being gay is a choice. It's exhausting when you battle for your rights, but we've been doing this for a long time. We will be strong, we will stand together against what may come, and we, in the end, will prevail. So if you're out there and you're feeling exhausted or you're feeling upset by all of this, remember that you have a community. Remember that there are people that stand with you. And in the end, everyone's going to be here for each other.
Thanks, Susan.
With devastating storms around the world, specifically hurricanes recently, it is not uncommon that these sort of disasters get blamed on the LGBTQ. Recently, with Hurricane Harvey, Ann Coulter and Pastor Kevin Swanson took to blaming gay people once again. Ann Coulter went on Twitter and suggested that it makes more sense that gay people could have caused these storms over climate change. It would make more sense. And Mayor of Houston, or former Mayor of Houston, and out lesbian, responded by denouncing this and saying that she didn't realize she had superpowers. She didn't know she had the power to create these storms. This is Anise Parker, who finished her mayoral run in 2016. But this isn't really the only time a lot of different incidences have been blamed on the LGBTQ. What else do we have here, Ramin?
Pink News has recently published an article in which they've gathered 13 of the most ridiculously outrageous claims of natural disasters and terrible instances in our society that have been thrust upon the shoulders of gay people. I will now read them aloud to you. Here are some of the most wonderful, interesting things we've been blamed for. Number 1, low grades. Yes, just by being gay, that automatically deters your intelligence and that's why you shouldn't let your kids watch Broadway or any kind of musical. It'll just destroy their grades. Right. Our very mere existence drags down the average intelligence of all the straight people around us.
Earthquakes, because when the gay bedroom starts rocking, it's really rocking. Rachel Dolezal. Okay, I don't actually have time to get into this because there's a lot. So instead, I'll take a little bit of blame for that. Just a little.
We're sorry, we did Rachel Dolezal. Floods. Really? Gay people are blamed for floods? That's not us, people. Come on. It's Cthulhu. He rises from the sea.
Number 5, the fall of Rome. Did you really do that?
Yes. Don't you know? There were too many orgies, and that's why they couldn't keep the empire together. They were too busy having fun.
I do miss Rome.
Yes, that one's true. Crack open any history book. The emperors were way too busy getting it on with their orgies to run the government properly. How is that different than today's Congress? The current financial crisis across the world. If only we didn't spend all of our money on very tight-fitting shirts, it wouldn't have destroyed the world economy. We're sorry, straight people. We're sorry.
Super mouse infestation. Need I say more? I guess I should because some people believe it.
Yes, there was a giant mouse found in the Tesco in Texas. It was twice the size of a normal mouse, and clearly gay people are making the mice bigger for our secret army to take over the cities from down under the sewers. First pizza rat, then Tesco mouse. Hurricanes, because X-Men?
Brexit, because when you need to come up with some reason why your relationship just didn't work out. Brexit, because if we can't be together, then neither can Europe.
Remember, gay people hate Europe. ISIS. Wow. Yes, that's right. Gay people created ISIS. But ISIS exists to destroy gay people. Wait, is that some kind of time paradox? I don't know. Someone call Doctor Who.
The Holocaust.
That one's especially insulting because we were actually victims of the Holocaust. They would gather up people suspected of being gay, put a triangle on them, and put them in the camps. So gay people caused the Holocaust? I guess when you exist, you're just asking for it.
It's all part of the plan. The end of Olympic wrestling.
Yeah, we're gonna take fault on that one. I mean, you know, it just looks so gay. You just can't watch it with a straight face.
Actually, the reason people blame is because wrestling is the most masculine sport, they say, and because it was removed because of the gayification.
Oh, the gayification of wrestling.
It's like, wow, that's definitely the most masculine and not gay sport at all.
In an interesting side note, the national sport of Turkey is a form of oil wrestling where you take off your shirt, rub yourself down with oil, and try to put your hand down another man's pants in order to take him down.
Gun crime. We're predators. The hunters. It's what we do.
Okay, this has been the Rainbow Pew 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 pew. Pew pew. This has been the Rainbow Review.
Take care. Drank it all already.
Okay.
Shotgun pearl necklace.
On it. It's been a long day, guys.
Yeah. We're headed. So. Earthquakes, because when you're rocking, you're really rocking.